Hi everyone, this is the second part of our knee videos. I'm going to try and go through some of the exercises that were specific to the problems I described in the first video. So we're talking about our fat pad impingement, our patellar tendonitis, and our ITB friction syndrome. So the key thing to think about with this first is we're going to develop a lot about that idea of tracking. So again, just to show you, just to kind of be clear, tracking is what I mean with the analogy of a car wheel. When the tracking is out, you're going to wear out the tyre on one side more than the other. Same principle with the kneecap and the knee. So we need to make sure our tracking is perfect. Now, from a knee point of view, tracking is to do with this angle, okay? So what the hip is doing, essentially. Now, knee tracking can be controlled in many different ways. So first off, I'm going to start with your quads. So your quads are your thigh muscles, these ones here. And there's a couple of parts to them, but we're going to concentrate on this one, which is called vastus medialis oblique. That's it there. And VMO has a really important role. It makes sure your kneecap tracks more towards the inside. Now, it tends to be a little bit weaker, this one, than the outside ones. This is why I'm going to make you work on this one mainly. So, first one, sitting down in a chair. Just sit yourself nice and upright, and then I'm going to rotate. If it's your right leg, I'm going to rotate my big toe so it's pointing at sort of 2 o'clock. Then I'm going to work onto end range extension, so straight as you can go, and then back down, and then up. For those of you who've used the knee extension machine in the gym, same thing. But with your leg, or my foot on the right, pointing at 2 o'clock. If it was the left, I'd have it pointing at 10 o'clock, same principle, up and down, up and down. Try and squeeze these muscles as tight as you can at the top. To make it more challenging, you can add some weight to the bottom of the ankle, so ankle weights which you can buy online will do the job. If not, I even heard people like using like bags full of water bottles to try and give them some weight, or even a bucket full of stones. We're using the handle across this part of the ankle to give you a little bit more push through here. Now, I would tend to do sort of 12 to 15 repetitions, and I would do 3 sets of that. Once I've done that, I'm then going to try and challenge my VMO a bit more, and the next step of this is in lying, so having a lie on my back. And then I'm going to straighten my left leg for this one, and then I'm going to point my foot again at 10 o'clock. I'm going to straighten my knee as straight as it can go, so you can see my heel will lift off the bed a little bit, and then I'm going to lift my leg up and then down in this straight leg position until I feel a bit of sort of like almost like cramp in here, which will take about sort of 15 to 20 repetitions, okay? For those of you with back problem, I would say avoid this one because it will pull sort of through your hamstrings onto your lower back a little bit. Up and down, okay? Again, same rules apply. So what I would do, I'd say about 15 to 20 repetitions of that, and I'd be looking at about 3 sets, okay? So there's some very basic quad exercises that you can do. Quads will kind of do anything, will start working when you're doing anything in weight bearing as well, so you don't have to worry about them too much. But if we can just get that VMO firing a bit more, we're in business. The next bit is to go through your glutes. Now your glutes are very important muscles, so your glutes are up in the, sort of in your buttock region up here. And what they do is if your leg tends to roll inwards, which is what can cause a lot of our tracking problems with our knee, our glutes pull you outwards to make sure that your knee lines up with the middle of your foot. So these exercises I will do in side lying. We would call them a side series, and there's 3 of them, and you do them back to back. Okay, so the first one you do in side lying with a clam exercise. So I tend to have my hand up on my head like that so I can rest my head on it. My heels are going to stay together, and my knees are bent to probably about sort of 90, maybe a bit less, 80 degrees. Okay, the really important bit of this is to roll forward. Without that roll, you're going to use the wrong muscle group. You're going to use the muscles here rather than the muscles back here. So if you're doing it back here and it's really easy, that's because you're using the wrong muscle groups. You've got to roll forward. When you roll forward, you can basically do this. It's called the clam. And you're going to feel like a pulling muscle up in this region again. If you don't, then I suggest roll forward a bit more and then you will feel it. If you find it too easy, and be careful with that because it takes about a minute to do its work, so give it a chance first. But if you do find it too easy, you can lift your heels off and do it like that. So that's part 1, and you do that till fail, till you really are struggling to do any more. Then you go straight into our side lifts, pretty self-explanatory this one, knee straight, lifting leg up and down. Again, a little roll forward doesn't help, just to make sure we're really recruiting our backside there. And again, We would do that one till fail. And then the third part is little circles, like the size of a tennis ball with the ball of your foot. And again, have a little roll forward, and you'll feel that in your glutes. All three of those exercises you do until fail, and you should be feeling them deep into the glute region. It will probably take you about a minute to a minute and a half for the clamps, the first exercise. Take you probably another 30 seconds, maybe a bit more for the side lifts. And then for the circles, you're talking about 10, 15, 20 seconds really before you start to get fatigued. Don't worry, that's normal. I tend to do that morning and evening. And then I obviously don't forget to do both sides, okay? Once I've done that, what I tend to do next is I use my foam roller on my ITB on the outside of my leg and a trigger point massage ball on my glutes. For the foam roller, there's instructions on how to do that with my foam rolling video that's on the YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for that one. If you watch that, I'll teach you how to kind of do that specifically. For the trigger point ball, I'm going to do a video on that shortly. So again, keep your eyes peeled. There'll be one about what to use a massage ball for on your glutes and other parts of the body as well. Okay. Once I've done my foam rolling and my trigger point ball, I'm also going to do a quad stretch. Really basic, and you know it. It's simple. In standing, you grab your heel, or you grab your foot and pull your heel towards your buttock, and then bring your hip backwards slightly, and just hold. 30 seconds on each leg. To make it a bit fancier, what you can do is you can actually sort of use the other leg and pull across, and that will work on a slightly different part of the muscle. So you could split it and do 30 seconds of the first hold, 30 seconds of the other hold, and then do both legs. To get a real release with your quad stretches, which also will help you if you're having any pain around the front, quad stretch is a really nice way of taking the pressure off that fat pad and off the tendons. You want to do those stretches sort of 5 times a day, really, minute on each leg, minimum. Now you've done some stuff in lying and in sitting, I'll show you some stuff in standing. Really what you'll need is some TheraBand, so elastic sort of band to help you get the right recruitment of your glutes. If you don't have that, then I suggest that you try and buy some online. This is the medium kind, so you probably need about a meter's worth of it, and then you can kind of trim it down to the right size. If you don't have it, don't worry too much, as long as you actually are concentrating where your legs will need to be. So first step, put the band over the knees. Okay, now leg width is going to be really important. So you need to find the bony bit of your ankles, and wherever that is, if you drew a straight line from your bony part of your ankles and came up, you should line up with the kind of bony bits on the front of your hips. I don't want you doing too narrow because that puts too much pressure on the front of the knees. Too wide, it's going to irritate the groin. So you need to just think about an imaginary line that runs from here, comes all the way up and sort of ends up on the bony bits at the front of your hips, and that's the right width. Feet pointing forward, 12 o'clock, or slightly off 12, but not wide. The minute you're doing that, you're strengthening up your thigh, your groin muscles here, rather than sort of working on glute control. Keep your head up when you're doing a squat, and also stick your bum out. So your head weighs a lot, so try not to look forward too much, because if you look forward, you're going to come up on your tiptoes. Keep your head up, stick your bum out as a counterbalance. Put the pressure on the band, and what we're going to watch for is that we're not doing this. Okay? So when we squat down, show you from the side angle first. Pressure on the band, bum out, chest up, head up, bend those knees and come up. If you only get down to there, that's okay. You'll get better the more you do it. What I don't want is don't get to there and then do this, because that's not helping you. So I want you to slowly work on getting lower, and eventually as you get better, you better get lower, lower and lower. From a front angle, you've got to watch for that. If you start doing that, that's rubbish. That's going to end up causing lots of pain with the inside of the knee. So keep the pressure out, get that bum recruiting. With a squat, I would tend to do sort of somewhere between 15 to 20 repetitions. I would do 3 sets of that, and I would do that probably 3 or 4 times a week, if you really want to get nice strong legs every day. To make it a bit more challenging, don't change the repetitions and don't change the amount of sets, up the weight. So if you've got a rucksack, if you want to say put 10 kilos in, it's a really simple fix. Get a rucksack, get sort of 5 2-litre bottles of water, stick them in a bag, and off you go. Okay, there's 10 kilos. Really, you're going to need, for most people, it's 10 to 20 kilos of weight in your rucksack to really make a big difference. So if you've got weights, chuck them in, books, whatever you can, really try and get the weight up, and that will suffice. Okay, Same rules apply, same reps, and same sets. The next progression is a split squat. It looks a bit like a lunge. So here's a lunge, and a split squat is this. So it looks similar, but actually a split squat's a bit more controlled and allows us to kind of think about where is my knee pointing. So I always start in a kneeling position. Try and keep your knee pointing over your second toe at all times, and my back foot, which I'm not sure you'll be able to see, but I'm basically on the ball of my foot like that on my back foot. Okay, and what we need to do is, keeping that nice and straight, is just come straight back up and back down, and that. Okay? Nice and basic and simple. 15 to 20 repetitions on each leg. Let's say sort of 3 sets on each leg, one being each leg, but what I mean by that is the leg at the front, okay? And then again, same rules apply. Make it harder. All you got to do is add weight. So that's a very, very basic home exercise program for your knee. What it will do is it will build up some quad strength, but mainly the VMO, also some bum control and strength, and also with the quad stretches gives you a little bit of relief along with doing your ITB rolling. If you've got any problems, let me know. My email address is charlie.bradford4@gmail.com, and I'll answer any questions that you've got. And if you've got anything more specific, I can go through that with you one by one. Okay? Thanks, guys, and look out for the next couple of videos coming. Have a good day.